Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Well, Tasmanian defence contractors have cautiously welcomed the $368 billion decision to build nuclear-powered submarines in Australia. 2 local companies now preparing to make their mark in the United States' largest military show.
It's the largest single investment in Australian defence history. The AUKUS agreement already attracting significant interest from Tasmania's technology, manufacturing and training sectors.
We're all sort of trying to recruit from the same pool of people, but if you compare Tasmania to a state like New South Wales or South Australia, there's just much more work going on there.
Local contractors now calling on the state government to position Tasmania as a strong contender for submarine work.
It's sometimes difficult for smaller companies like CBG Systems to be able to penetrate those markets, to get a seat at the table with the big prime contractors. Obviously no one in Washington knows who CBG Systems are.
Defence Minister Madeleine Ogilvie stating, "We have been working hard across commercial and research layers to connect into the AUKUS conversation for the long-term benefit of Tasmanians."
They've talked the talk in the past, now they've got to walk the walk. This is a massive investment for Australia's defence capability. It's only reasonable that Tasmania's fantastic advanced manufacturers should be able to get a slice of the pie.
Australia's only maritime simulation manufacturer, one of only 2 Tasmanian companies selected for the United States Sea, Air, Space Conference next month.
As you would expect, there's going to be a lot of focus on advanced technology and the companies that can get involved in this AUKUS arrangement.
To win its share of lucrative military contacts, Tasmania will need to overcome its current skills shortage, especially in areas such as defence research and specialist engineering. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
And TT Line has learned its fate in the Burnie Magistrates Court today, fined $75,000 over the 2018 deaths of 16 polo ponies on the Spirit of Tasmania. Former Australian polo captain and driver of the truck, Andrew Williams, has also been convicted, fined $15,000. Animal cruelty convictions have been handed down more than 5 years after the horses were found dead following an overnight Bass Strait crossing from Tasmania to Victoria. A Tasmania police officer who allegedly killed 2 people in a vehicle crash last year has pleaded not guilty to a swathe of charges. Cassandra Joy Richardson, who was off duty at the time of the crash and has been stood down since then, fronted a magistrate today. She's been charged with 2 counts of causing death by negligent driving, 1 count of driving without due care and attention, and 1 of driving while disqualified. She's expected to face court again mid-year. Well, 3 decades on from the mysterious disappearance of Nancy Grunwald, police are continuing search efforts to find answers. The German backpacker went missing in 1993 on the East Coast. Still, there's not a shred of evidence to prove what happened. A desperate plea from police has been renewed on the anniversary, with fresh search efforts just last week.
Please help us. Thank you.
A long-running cold case still no closer to closure for family.
Putting myself in the shoes of family members, I would like to know what happened to my daughter or my sister.
This week marking 30 years since the mysterious disappearance of German backpacker Nancy Grunwald.
Nancy was last seen on the 12th of March cycling out of Scamander for Bicheno on a hired red bike.
We know Nancy's name. It was something that really shook our state and went across the country as well.
3 decades on, the case remains active, with police and family retracing Nancy's tracks. Time and time again.
We've had task forces investigating it, up to a dozen detectives. We've also had continuing information coming in from members of the public.
The 26-year-old disappearing without a trace, with many possible theories on the table.
Theories that are flying around are that she was picked up by a motorist while struggling to ride her bike up the St Mary's Pass, and as a result of that being picked up, that she has unfortunately been murdered.
Somebody in that community is aware of the situation and has vital information for the police to be able to move their investigation further forward.
Despite little evidence, police efforts to uncover the truth have never faltered.
As recently as last week, we conducted some searches in bushland near the east coast, and that was in relation to some information that had been received about a possible location of a body many years ago. I did speak to the family very recently, and and they're fully aware of the fact that we want to solve this for their closure.
Reigniting calls to contact Crime Stoppers or police if you have any information.
Remove that fear. I mean, do it in your own home, start the process, submit a tip or a report online, but don't live with the burden and the guilt of knowing something, because Nancy herself deserves the right to be put to peace and rest, and a family as well.
A $500,000 reward still stands for information that leads to a conviction. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
A local sports club has been left with thousands of dollars damage after an alleged break-in on Sunday night. The Sorrel Cricket Club posted footage to Facebook which appears to show a trio of thieves entering the club in the early hours of the morning. They've caused substantial damage to a fridge, making off with a large amount of alcohol. It's the second time the club rooms have been broken into in a matter of months. Northwest beekeepers are being told to keep their hives closed after the discovery of a small hive beetle in Devonport last week. The Department of Natural Resources says the move will allow Biosecurity Tasmania time to determine if there are more beetles in the area. The pest is considered a significant threat to the state's honey industry. Beekeepers within the 15-kilometre restriction area should keep their hives closed until the end of the month. A Tasmanian mother has spoken about the financial burden of pregnancy battling a severe illness. A common treatment is on the PBS, but it's not for pregnant women, forcing some mums to pay thousands of dollars to seek relief.
Baby Neve is happy and healthy.
What's that? What's that?
But that was far from her mum Bronte's experience of carrying her and her sister.
My first one, it lasted the full 38 weeks and I vomited between 10 and 40 times a day.
She suffered from the debilitating illness hyperemesis gravidarum. For many women, functioning day to day during pregnancy is a major challenge, and treatment can be costly.
I spent about $3,000 between seeing doctors and getting fluids and just buying medications.
There's limited research on hyperemesis treatments. Like many other mums, Bronte was left with no choice but to use a medication designed for patients suffering nausea from chemotherapy. Ondansetron is widely prescribed to pregnant women, but it's not clinically approved for use in pregnancy. Because of that, they can't get access to the cheaper PBS pricing. It means they have to pay 2 or 3 times as much.
It definitely makes you think twice, and you definitely think you have to be so financially prepared to have another baby in case it happens.
It's anywhere between 1 in 100 women and 1 in 10 women will suffer hyperemesis gravidarum.
Women's Health Tasmania says many financial barriers exist for women in healthcare, particularly in reproductive health.
For something that makes their symptoms more bearable or means they can continue to work or engage in life and the many caring responsibilities they have, we really need to be looking at ways to minimise those financial barriers.
Barriers worth breaking down. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's natural treasures continue to be a major draw card for locals and tourists, with the state seeing a significant increase in visitation. The West Coast was one of the major attractions travelled to, with new data showing visitors to the Gordon River increased by 45%. Freycinet, Cradle Mountain, Tasman Arch and Mount Field remain popular destinations, with more than 700,000 people visiting the iconic locations last year.
Tasmania is playing for pride, but Caleb Jewell has put in an eye-catching performance on day 1 of the Shield clash against Queensland. Jewell fell 2 runs shy of a century, but Bo Webster is on 91 not out. The Tigers are 5 for 325 at stumps in what could be Tim Payne's last game for the side. With the Blunston pitch a shade of Shrek green,
I'm excited for our batting group to get the first look at it.
Jordan Silk's excitement didn't last long as Tim Ward made Hart skip a beat.
Oh, there's the nick it out.
While the Bulls rearranged the gates,
acting as one of the ground staff for now,
Caleb Jewell rearranged the scoreboard.
That's put away very nicely by Jewell behind square. What a good shot, the shot of the morning.
With Jake Doran casted as supporting actor, the pair polled on 12 boundaries each.
Doran, sweet timing there.
With the Queenslanders trying to keep their cool, Doran bashed his way to a half-century and Jewell kept going, entering the nervous 90s.
Through the offside, 4 runs.
Triple figures were elusive, Jewel out for 98, but it opened the gate for Tim Payne to enter the cauldron in what could be his final match for the Tigers. He proved to be the perfect partner for Beau Webster as he set his sights on cracking the century mark.
Firmly driven by Webster on the front foot, majestic.
He's unbeaten on 91, Payne on 41, heading into day 2. Tasmania has chalked up a win in its University Basketball League debut. UTAS toppled Ballarat's Federation University 89-80 in the men's game late today after joining the national competition to give students a better pathway to top-tier basketball. The women's game is still underway with UTAS up at half-time by 19 points. And less than 24 hours after being told he'll debut in Thursday night's game, Tasmanian Lockie Cowan has signed a 2-year extension with the Blues. The club says he's becoming a fan favourite for his toughness, especially in Carlton's practice match against the Swans. Tasmania's sole horse in the All-Star Mile will start close to the inside barrier. Scott Brunton's gelding The Inevitable has drawn barrier 3 for Saturday's $5 million race. Gay Waterhouse's Alligator Blood is the favourite after snapping up gate 7.
Good evening. 26 the state's top in Hobart today. Launceston 25, Devonport reached 22, 21 for Burnie. 25 the top for Grove, Flinders Island and Ooze. Friendly Beaches 24, Luncheon Hill and St Helens both top 23, Lyowini 17. Low level cloud over the north and west today with some high level cloud moving over the entire state from the northwest. Thunderstorms for parts of the top end, Queensland and New South Wales, with some areas of high level cloud over Victoria and eastern New South Wales. A relaxed pressure pattern over the country tomorrow, with a weak trough glancing by Tasmania as a cold front approaches from the west. West to northwesterly winds of 15 to 25 knots, increasing up to 30 about the west in the evening. Swells building to 3.5 metres about the west and south during the afternoon. And there's a strong wind warning for the central and southwest coast. Partly cloudy, 24 for Hobart tomorrow. Geeveston a shower or 2, 23 for Bothwell. Partly cloudy across the north, Launceston 25, 23 the expected top for Devonport, Cressy 26. Burnie partly cloudy and 23 tomorrow. Showers increasing for Strawn, Curry 19. Mostly sunny and 25 in St Helens, Swansea and Orford both partly cloudy and 24. Tomorrow's UV will remain at high 7s with the sun setting at 7:36 p.m. Showers extending statewide on Thursday morning, then contracting to the west and far south during the afternoon. More showers on Friday for the west and far south, fine elsewhere. And the wet weather will continue into the weekend with showers on Saturday, mainly in the west and north before easing in the evening. Partly cloudy in Sydney, Canberra and Brisbane tomorrow. Melbourne cloudy and 26, sunny for Perth, 39 the top for Alice Springs. And right now it's cloudy across the state. Hobart and Launceston both 21, Devonport 19 and Kim, those warm temperatures are still holding up.